Well, thank you, first and foremost, all of you, for taking the time to listen to our story, to hear a little bit about our Better Together story. I couldn't be more grateful for having a co-presenter today, Mr. Michael Burdick, who I have known for decades now at this point. We've worked together on a lot of opportunities for his customers at some of the other companies I've worked for in my past, including Vonage. I'm a boomerang. For those who don't know what a boomerang is, because I didn't know that, it's when you come back to a company that you left. So I rejoined Vonage in July of last year, and I oversee global channel and alliances for the team at Vonage. But enough about me. Michael, why don't you talk a little bit about you? Tell us about your journey.
So I started the business in 2006, traditional agent business, technology consulting, mostly working with medium, large enterprise clients, doing a lot of data gathering, data analysis, design, network design, voice and data network, and a lot of the things that we are doing now in a more automated way, more manually. So we're a TEM provider as well, doing telecom expense management, amongst other things, bill pay, inventory management, contract management. And we use that approach in a more automated and expedited way to be able to tee up sales opportunities.
Right, thank you. And you know, of course, I'm sure that Burdick would have conversations after we speak. But telecom expense management, and now technology expense management, is actually a great entry point, or Trojan horse, if you will, in terms of understanding the customer spend and some value add that you can bring in. And I think the statistic, just a little anecdotal, is on average, it's like for all of the telecommunications spend, on average, they're erroneously billed about 10 to 15%. Is that right?
Yeah, about 10 to 15% just through the automated audit process. But when you start looking at the data that you have, anywhere up to another 20 to 30%.
So imagine your story. If you can go into a customer and you can say, Mr. Customer, let me do an audit. On average, companies are being overbilled because circuits get disconnected, but they're still being billed. Licenses get turned down, but you're still being billed, and you release that budget for you to go and source other technology. So it's a great win for you into a new company. It's also a great win for the IT leader and the IT procurement team. We're here to talk about what we call our Better Together story. So our Better Together story is a story that talks about our Salesforce alliances. So underneath me, not only do I have the amazing channel that supports all of you for success in the industry, but I also have our partnerships with organizations like Salesforce, ServiceNow, Microsoft, and Amazon Marketplace, AWS. And why you should care about that is that one is a very, very critical stack within an organization when it comes to customer relationship management. So for example, Salesforce, it's also a very big spend for a lot of organizations. And so they're always trying to figure out how they can optimize their spend around a service cloud instance with Salesforce, for example. And this story is about additive value of Salesforce plus Vonage plus Michael Burdick's 360. See, I want to make sure we're going the right company, CMS360. And each and everybody's part to making sure that we triangulated the deal, added value for the customer, and ultimately went together. So why don't you start and talk a little bit about kind of the beginning of this story,
Sure.
And maybe also what type of industry this is.
So they're manufacturing and retail, large global client with a lot of complexity, a lot of multiple business units in country, multiple business units globally, a lot of spend, and a lot of confusion in their environment. So we started by providing them a TEM service, technology expense management service. It's foundational to what we do. They have to know what they have to start with. So we build that out. We use LOAs, we have RPA service, a lot of different technologies we apply to gather the data, to gather the inventory, to gather the cost, and to start to build out site profiles across all business units. The basic goal and the basic idea is stakeholder alignment, business unit alignment, and creating a central repository of data. From that point, as Kristy had mentioned, a lot of cost takeout You start getting wins. They start believing in you. They ask you what else you can do. And then, we're managing RFIs and RFPs for contact center and for UCaaS. And that's where we partnered with Vonage as a part of that. We did a agnostic RFI. We brought in multiple service providers. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. And we selected the wrong one. They had some trouble. This company, it was more native Teams integration. And the client came back to us and said, it was a good idea, but let's go back to the RFI process. And Vonage was runner-up at that time for various reasons, and it had nothing to do with the technology. It had everything to do with the client environment. And so we spun back to Vonage.
So for a little context, or actually a survey of the audience, how many of you are working to get into enterprise? There's no shame in this. We're all friends, we're trusted. So this is a great story because what Burdick is starting to tell is a long tail game of getting into an enterprise account, right? So this particular organization is a global organization. Ironically, they are some of the market leaders in 2 areas for consumer goods. You ready for this? It's candy and pet. So, but now when you think about that, so just think about those 2 topics of candy and pet supplies and services. We're talking large parent company with multiple subsidiaries. So it takes time to go wide into these organizations. And so what you need, and this is exactly what Michael did, is you need a beachhead in. You need a way into this account. And then over a period of time, it grows and the revenue and the wallet share continues to grow as you build trust as a trusted advisor in these accounts. And so I want to make sure that we get that clear because everybody talks about these huge wins and how much money right in the channel that we're making by a big deal in enterprise. It doesn't happen overnight. Oftentimes it's something that you have to build. 10 years. Right? So 10 years thinking about that, number one. Number 2 is the story gets better. You ready? The story gets better. So we did our part. Michael did his part. We now are back into seat. We are the provider for unified communications at this point, providing telephony across some of their knowledge workers in the organization. Remember I told you we have a Salesforce partnership? Salesforce identifies that the customer is looking to stratify and power with telephony their Salesforce instances across all of those different subsidiaries over a period of time, but also a provider of choice that's going to power it through telephony and other services. So now Vonage is engaged on both sides. We bring in Michael Burdick, who has command and control, influence, and data insight around the organization, how they buy, how they procure. In Salesforce, they come in from a different side of stakeholders because they're more on the CRM side of the house. And we triangulated the deal together to get our second win together with CMS360. And that is now a contact center opportunity that we also will land and expand over a period of time. So this is just a phenomenal story. And here is why. There are certain things that Salesforce had from an added value that we could not do at Vonage, and nor could Michael. There are certain things that we do at Vonage that Michael nor Salesforce could do. And there are additive values that Michael's agency did that we couldn't do with the trucks, what we have on our truck at Vonage and Salesforce. So it's a better together story because when you triangulate deals like that strategy-wise, everybody has additive value to get the deal across the line successfully. Understanding stakeholder alignment, who needs what's a quick win for some of these stakeholders, how they procure inside information in terms of insight information around how we align at executive levels. So it's just a phenomenal story of when we move up market, one, beachhead in. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Although we all would love to have, a sprint elephant hunter that comes in and says, please, but that's not the truth. This isn't real business. It's a long tail game. So I think that at the end of the day is the story that we want to tell you is that there's additive value from what the technology advisor does along with us as technology providers. And I think clearly you're understanding everybody's value proposition and how at the end of the day, it's a win for the customer, what's important to the customer, because that's all that matters in this, right? It's customer first approach. And if we take that and we help them be successful, then we all benefit in the end in terms of the win. Anything else you want to add?
I've given Vonage a lot of props. Kristy had mentioned we have a long-standing relationship. These guys are excellent. Not every carrier's like this. Not every service provider's like this. The collaboration that we had right out of the gate, with both the channel team as well as the direct team was amazing. And we spent some time just getting to know each other, the direct team and us, so they understood what it is that we were providing and what we were doing, and fell in line with that in the initial sales stage. And then we handed it off, and they took it and ran with it through execution. So truly better together story.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm not a paid sponsor.
Yeah. So I'm going to wrap. We can happily answer questions. We'll stay around here. The couple things that I just want to add in is really two things. One is it's about you as the partner. I think this is important to know. Is unlike a lot of other solution providers out there, the way in which we map our account executives is based on where you live. So for example, I have an amazing account executive named Kristy right here. She's based in Atlanta. She is actually would be mapped to you based on if you're in the Southeast. It's not where the customer is based. So you sell the first deal, the second deal, the third deal with Kristy versus getting a new rep every time. Because it's about you guys building some type of cohesiveness in the sales engagement. Number two, this is very important. I wanted to say this, is that you are so important to Vonage. The channel is 80% of our revenue for mid-market and enterprise. We lean into the channel. You are critical. If you're not selling Vonage, I don't have a job. These people that are wearing V's, they don't have jobs. So we are channel friendly, and we want you to be successful in what you do. Now, I have to give you one anecdote around a Vonage commercial. We have the full stack, and you'll see our graphics. Come for a demo. But remember, we have a platform, but you can sell components of the platform. You don't have to sell the entire platform, although we'd love for you to do that. But sometimes you're solving for one small business need, and that's your point solution to get into an account. So don't think of it as you have to sell the entire platform. Just know that you have an extensive platform to choose from. Sell it all or sell one component of it, all right? Thank you for your time. Please stay for our demo. My team's all here to answer questions, have conversations, and we have a happy hour today. What time is it? 5 p.m. to 7 in our hub, which is just across from Starbucks is how I would say it, okay? Please join us. Good vibe, good music, maybe karaoke, sublime.
Yep.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.